He
Schroeder
was
was destroying us. Holy shit.
yeah,
The
he's
first quarter,
really good.
I was
But like
pissed.
you saw him in the
I was
beginning.
pissed. And then this guy was flopping all over the place. I was like actually fucking pissed.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to our podcast. We got Jacob and Leo here with us today. So a lot of stuff to cover. But first, I want to start out with, in general, like the Nets look insane. So I'd like to hear your thoughts. What do you think of KD's and Harden's duo performance? So yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't know, I thought that usually when you get a big player trade like that, the team that gets the big player gets all the hype, and I was like, they were getting a lot of hate, and so I kind of like took the other side. I thought James Harden was getting very underrated. I got the feeling that he wanted to be a winner, and he was going to become a point guard. I mean, this is kind of like hard to say now because it's already happened, but like I had a feeling, he's gonna average double-digit assists. He's gonna take the back seat, and like Kyrie was the one that we had to see. So like that, but for a finals run, they definitely need to add more pieces because DeAndre Jordan got exposed by Vucevic. So like their defense is suspect, but offensively, I mean, this is one of the greatest teams of all time.
I think they're definitely making the finals easily. Like
I don't know. The Bucks came this close to winning. Honestly, they missed a few shots in the end, but I could definitely see like a 7-game series in the Eastern Conference between the Bucks and.
pretty sure like Harden after that Bucks game, he could be like, I don't know, but he I think you literally said like we haven't even practiced yet. Like they're just kind of doing this on the fly. Like Kyrie wasn't there either. Like
Yeah,
that is like they're good enough to just like figure it out like that. I mean, I actually do believe in like what Leo was saying. Harden will just be more of a team player. Kyrie can be like a finisher, like he's I guess known as being. I don't know. I don't really have any like. I think it'll work out. Like what Leo said about DeAndre, they probably do need to sign a backup center. But I mean, DeAndre, like he can still block shots. He's not like the same he was before, but he's a solid player.
I also like their
on TV
lineup
they were
with Jeff
catching on to that too. Like if they want to be like a championship team, then like DeAndre Jordan actually needs to like take a step up. But like we'll see. But I think for the finals, it's like I think Stephen A. Smith was saying similar things like finals are bust, and I agree with it.
And I think their lineup with Jeff Green at the center with KD, Harden, Joe Harris, and Kyrie, that's dangerous. I think that's like a death lineup, like the Warriors' death lineup, like where they can switch everything. That's I think is going to be there. I mean, unless they find a better center like Al Horford, could be in the buyout market, I think Jeff Green's going to be their playoff center. Or they're going to start with DeAndre Jordan, and they'll he'll play the Iggy role basically, but play center. Like he'll be like because he plays good D and can shoot threes. I mean, I think he'll have a big role in the playoffs. But the other thing I wanted to say was like I think it's like I've been hearing some like interesting takes, and like I kind of want to go a step further with it with like how they said that they did the James Harden trade because Kyrie was being weird, and that was what pushed them to do it. And I think that even doing it, they now put all the pressure on Kyrie. Before, like Kyrie had all the control because like it was him and KD, and now that they have Harden, they could literally trade Kyrie because I mean we just saw it, they're so good even without him. Like they could trade Kyrie for role players. He can be irrelevant that quickly. So now he needs to prove himself again, and so now he actually has to play. So I think it's a really smart move, a power move by the Nets to get power back and like stability.
Yeah, somebody was saying that they should try to get PJ Tucker from Houston as like a defensive stopper. Like that would be a good addition for sure. But yeah, I think their biggest problem is like defense because they have like Joe Harris, Harden, and Kyrie at the same time on the floor. It's like an easy bucket every time. So that's like the one area that I would try to improve on. I'm actually curious.
That's why like they definitely need to sign another like shot blocking big. Like DeAndre Jordan is that, but they need another backup, like that because like then those guys like they can be aggressive on the perimeter, knowing like someone like a 7-footer is behind them.
I think the buyout market's going to be interesting this year because of all the trades that happened in the summer. with all like the picks being traded, Al Horford and all the Danny Green and all these guys that were traded for picks and not for their value. So I think a lot of players are going to be in the buyout market this year. That could be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just curious to see how like Kyrie looks with the team. I know for sure like everyone's gonna have like less shots than they're used to having. So I don't know, is he gonna become like a catch and shoot type guy, or is he gonna be like able to ISO like he used to?
Yeah, I wouldn't say KD is going to be like less shots than used to. Like I feel like KD is going to be similar to like that Warriors KD style. Like like there was so many games I remember where KD would easily attempt like 16 shots, but he makes like 9 of them,
Yeah.
and like he drops like 25 points easily. Like
Yeah. But
I can easily just continue happening like that. Like KD's so efficient. Like
and they had Clay and Steph to like kind of be off ball. Whereas
yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like
and Kyrie are more on ball players.
yeah, I've said this a lot to like a lot of people. Like just Clay is like the best like third option. Like if he's your third option, it's so nice, and he plays D. Like yeah, and Kyrie is interesting as a third because I think he's a clear third, but
Yeah, I think that it'll be interesting in the playoffs. I think in the regular season he'll get his touches. He'll be happy. He'll get his ISOs. But in the playoffs, when it really matters, I think he could be as bad. He could take like 7 shots a game. Like it really depends. But like I think that's in the playoffs is where it's going to be interesting. And in the regular season, like they're all going to like share touches, and it'll just be like because they're going to win. Like it doesn't matter who's getting touches; they're going to win. Oh, you know what, James Harden, you go for 40 this night. Oh, Kyrie go for 40. You know what, KD, have a nice one. Like it'll be like that. But in the playoffs, when they actually need to win, that's when it's going to be interesting.
This definitely wouldn't happen. But like, what if they had Kyrie like the second unit as like a Lou Williams on steroids, basically?
No way.
Comes off the bench and just like gets buckets off the bench. But I don't know. Like, he definitely wouldn't.
He would never do. He wasn't happy with LeBron.
Honestly, it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't matter if he's coming off like for that to happen. I think that is what's going to be like happening with Brooklyn. Like, I think like Steve Nash would be dumb not to stagger Kyrie and Harden. Yeah, I mean like so pretty much like he's not coming off the bench, but it's going to be like that same effect where he's like playing with a second unit and just doing like has the ultimate green light, and then like
I agree.
So yeah, I guess when we're asking about the question of the third option, it's like we're looking more like a close game, fourth quarter. Like, what does it look like? Is Kyrie just kind of ball watching from the corner, or is he like? Because I mean, like I would definitely rather have the ball in Harden's hands and like KD coming off whatever on the perimeter, going inside, doing his thing. Like, I think Kyrie is like that's what's interesting in the fourth quarter of a close game.
That's a very good point. I actually didn't think of the stagger. I don't know why it didn't come to me, but yeah, I would much rather have James Harden and KD playing than Kyrie and KD. So like, yeah, I think that's a very good point with second quarter.
Yeah, or I'd honestly have like Harden. I feel like out of those 3 players, Harden's probably the best, like just on his own on the court to like carry them like during the course of the game. And in the fourth quarter, I probably want KD the most. I don't know, yeah, but like whoever's there alone. Like if it's Kyrie or Harden playing with a second unit on his own most of the time, like it's gonna be ultimate green light, and they're gonna, go off in those minutes. Like maybe they're gonna blow teams out by the time the fourth quarter gets there.
Yeah, like, I mean,
they're gonna blow out a lot of teams in the regular season. That's
yeah, and they're gonna also give up a lot of leads. I feel like they're gonna be up 20, and then they're just gonna like turn it off.
The one place where they can get like destroyed is the center position, like going up against Embiid or Jokic, like, or AD.
I think Jokic is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Against them, actually.
Yeah, they gotta be lucky. They're lucky that they don't have to face him.
I don't think Embiid is really that scary for them, to be honest.
Sabonis could be scary. Sabonis is a somewhat similar player to Jokic.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving on to another interesting topic. The Warriors beat the Lakers. So that was I didn't watch the whole game, but like that was a pretty crazy comeback. And
you didn't miss much. That game was super ugly.
Yeah.
I'm a Warriors fan. Leo's a Lakers fan. I think we can both agree that both teams kind of sucked.
Yeah.
And then I guess like the thing I'm learning about this Warriors team is like the second unit is actually just so good. Like I don't know what it is. Like nobody particularly like looks like some beast player, but they just play really well. And this is like the third time now I think they've pretty much kept us in a game, got us back in there. Like Eric Pascal is just, I don't know, just scores. And then Steph kind of always, once the comeback energy is kind of there, he kind of turns it up in the fourth a little bit. And, he hit that three at the end of the game. He had some and ones kind of over the course of the fourth quarter. It was a good, as a Warriors fan, it was exciting to see them just beat the Lakers, obviously, but it was definitely an ugly game for both sides. LeBron didn't really look that engaged, to be honest.
Why do you think that first unit for the Warriors is so messy on offense?
I don't know. Also, just I guess I feel like Steph sometimes is a little bit too passive. But at the same time, he's getting triple teams literally every possession.
Yeah.
The Lakers actually weren't really doing it. The Lakers were just honestly just man to man with Steph and helping. So I thought Steph would go for more than he did when I saw that in the first quarter. But I don't know. I think it's just one big thing they changed last game is they put Oubre playing with the second unit, because normally in the second quarter it would be Wiggins and the second unit, and Wiggins has the ultimate green light, kind of how it's talking about with Kyrie, and they kind of switched it now. So now Oubre plays with the second unit, and Wiggins played with Steph in the rotation. So I don't know. We'll see how that works. It seemed to work well as Oubre got it going. Wiggins still had a good game. I don't know. That's interesting to follow, but yeah, I think overall it was just a bad game, to be honest, from both sides. Kind of scrappy, ugly. Warriors got it in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that Oubre had these crazy shooting struggles definitely didn't help. But I think if he could hit 30% even from three, that would be a big help and staff in the team. So.
To be honest, I would honestly start I would start Pascal. He's definitely the third he's a really good player on the Warriors. Maybe you start Pascal, maybe Damian Lee, and kind of do a Iguodala style, where our bench is has some good players. I don't know. I literally wouldn't mind seeing Oubre or Wiggins just benched for Damian Lee and Pascal, something like that.
No, I like Wanamaker too. He's a good backup, I think.
I don't know. He's weird.
Yeah.
I feel like he's trash, and then he hits a step back three, and it's don't shoot that again, but he made it. That's how I feel about him.
Yeah, I think the Warriors are they got severely underrated. Even I was telling Jacob, even before the year, I was okay, yeah, they're not top 5, but then the people were saying they weren't going to make the playoffs, and I was no, they're going to make the playoffs, but I know they got really underrated. They're a good team. They're a fun team to watch. The Lakers are just coasting. It's so obvious. Some teams have, they used to be oh yeah, we have that off switch, we have that on switch. The Lakers have that on and off switch. They can decide to turn up whenever they want. And they lost the game, but they're coasting. And the Warriors are kind of try-harding, but I was impressed by the Warriors. They'll be scary in the playoffs. And I think the Lakers are just chilling. Maybe I'm waiting for a Kuz trade, because there was an article in the LA Times saying that the Lakers are purposely not playing THT minutes because they're scared that if he shows too much, that next year he's going to get offered a huge contract from the Hornets or one of those teams, and they'll lose him for nothing. So they want to either trade Kuz and then start playing THT so they can resign, or don't play him this year and get rid of Kuz in the offseason. But I don't know. I think, in my opinion, the best trade is Buddy for Kuz, and I think it fits both sides for the Kings, because the Kings
the Kings are not doing that. Come on, stop it.
They have Halliburton. Halliburton is is so good for them, and they don't really need Buddy.
They don't need Kuz either, bro.
A wing scorer. A wing scorer could be. We know Kuz is good. He could be. That's
stupid. That's stupid. That's a stupid trade. But
I don't know. I think it benefits.
I think Kuz though. I'm not hating on Kuz actually. Against the Warriors just now, Kuz is low key the best Laker that game. He was playing really well.
It's just I think that he doesn't fit. He jacks up shots and sometimes they go in, but on the Lakers, because he's just he can't really ISO. But on the Kings, I feel he could be a good player, and I think Halliburton, his plus minus is one of the top 3 in the league. It's insane how much of a winner he is.
I wouldn't mind Kuz on the Warriors, but I don't see any package.
What are you gonna give us?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't see any package that I would do for that. But
no, I think I would love a Buddy Kuz trade. That's perfect.
One thing I'll say about the Lakers is like late game, like not having Rondo. Kind of, I think if they had Rondo in that game, they definitely would have won. They don't have like
I don't know. You think?
they
I don't, in the regular
like,
season,
go down the
Rondo
paint.
wasn't that good in the regular season.
What?
Regular season, Rondo, I don't think wins that game. If it's playoffs, it's a different story. But I don't know.
They had like a point guard. They had a point guard who could like control the pace. Like at the end of the game, the reason the Warriors like made the comeback was because like they kind of set the tone, set the pace. So I think they
I think
definitely.
Schroeder needs to learn a little bit too. I mean, you saw like in the beginning, like
Being all over the place, I was like actually fucking pissed. He flopped like 3 times one possession, and then like I don't know, like that guy is so annoying. I literally don't ever want to watch Shooter again after like all those.
I love Schroeder. Schroeder, I mean, no, he's like you saw in like the first 3 games, he was like he wasn't like executing his role well. He was putting up too many shots. He was handling the ball too much, and like over the next 5 games, he understood the role where it's get the ball to AD and LeBron, and then play defense. And then and he's better than Rondo at scoring. So he had that a little scoring punch. And then when lanes are opened up, yeah, take the drive. And I thought like he's gonna be once he learns the role, then he'll LeBron will teach him like the fourth quarter stuff. I think he has some learning to do. And he had CP3 teach him that stuff last year. So I think, and he's such a good defender. So like I think that late game, I think it'll be fixed. That Rondo-less problem will be fixed.
I'm surprised LeBron is playing every game. Like I thought he was going to take more rest, or I guess more load management. I mean, I'm glad because I have him on my fantasy team, but like, still, I'm surprised he's playing every game. I think that's not the best idea for the whole season.
But I like the Warriors in close games because like Leo talking about like this whole switch thing. I think I felt that with like kind of late second quarter, beginning third sort of. But like as the Warriors are coming back, like the Lakers were definitely playing, like especially the fourth quarter. Like the Lakers were playing.
But yeah, I mean,
they
like
just didn't have anything going. Like yeah, you have to give credit. Like the Warriors defense was doing really well. Like you guys were turning the ball over and like we just kept hitting threes and like hitting shots.
yeah, but we could also have like won by 40. So like,
But you didn't. You lost.
yeah, because
You
it's
can't say you
regular
won by
season,
40 if
who
you lost.
cares? I mean, nice. We're 17-4, like or whatever we are. Like like I don't know. Actually, we're definitely less than that. Like what, 13-4, 13-5. I mean, we're gonna be the first place. Like we're like
We're like
really
11-4,
okay.
I think. We're like 11-4.
Yeah, I mean, for you, it's a big game. For us, it's like some big game. I think that's the point.
I mean, you guys are kind of lucky we don't have Clay. That's the thing. Yeah, I mean,
Well, if you had Clay, then it's a different story. Yeah, then we're trying our asses off. But you're not really contending.
No, I mean the Lakers are probably going to run through the Western Conference easily, and I think like the finals will go probably 6 games. See
Who do you think? The Lakers or
Generally,
the
like the Warriors will put up a fight against anyone in the playoffs. Not necessarily favorite, but they'll put up a good fight against anyone.
I think they'll be like OKC last year, where they like took a bunch of teams like far, but they can actually finish out the series. That's where I see the Warriors in the playoffs kind of.
I mean, if we're playing like if we're like a 6 seed and it's not is it 6 or 5 seed or something like that, and if it's not the Lakers or Clippers that the Warriors are playing in the first round, like I think they're moving on. Personally,
I could see them beating the Clippers, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, just heart wise. I mean, they have Steph and Draymond.
The
I feel
Warriors
like
playoffs thing is good, and I really like the whole like back-to-back baseball series thing for basketball. Like it helps teams like the Warriors especially because like I don't know, like I definitely trust Steph and like Draymond and them to like help the whole team figure out like how to win. Like they're definitely winners, so no one's gonna say anything against that. Like
yeah, if I were the Clippers, I would be really scared of of a 7-game series with the Warriors. Steve Kerr. It would be a grind for them. I feel like so that's definitely someone that they don't want to face. I feel like that's kind of like the Rockets last year.
What do you think of Wiseman, Jacob? I see this guy playing. Like he looks super like athletic, but he still like plays like an absolute rookie. Like he doesn't know what's going on sometimes at all. So,
yeah,
like,
no, he's like literally a kid. Like he's literally a kid on the court. Like I definitely really like him. Like he's shown like really good moments. But like it's also been like a few like tough stretches. Like he played like Jokic, and then with AD. Like the Lakers game was definitely really really frustrating for him. Like I saw he was really like angry on the bench, like hitting stuff. Like he actually kind of like lost his temper. But I mean I'm glad to see that like yeah, he holds himself to like a really high standard. And, like that's what the Warriors have been saying. Like I don't know, like he definitely like really cares about how he plays.
Mm.
But like I don't know. I don't think anyone is gonna say like the opposite of like is gonna disagree if I say like that like Wiseman is gonna be, like he can be like scoring like 17 points for this Warriors team like really soon, like 17 points, maybe like 9 rebounds, like maybe in like 2 months, like you know.
Uh, fi- I'm high on Wiseman. I think he's really raw. And
I think
he'll be
Wiseman's
good
the
in a
best
couple years.
rookie, like as far as like in the long term.
Yeah, but 17 points this year, I think is unrealistic. I mean, he could go. I think 14, 15 is realistic. Next year, I think he could drop 17. But this year,
Next year, I
that's
hope
too.
he drops 20.
They have too many scores on that team for it to be 20. I feel like.
I feel like he's like the second. He's the second option really on the Warriors.
I mean,
Well, I'm
right
fine.
now, Andrew Wiggins and Oubre are above him.
No, right now, yeah, no, it's definitely Andrew Wiggins right now.
And then next year,
Um,
Clay. I mean, I just don't see. I'm not saying he's bad.
Play
I don't see
again,
him
play
having.
again. He's like one of those guys that like like second, third, whatever. Like he doesn't really take away from Wiseman. Is what I'm trying to say.
No, Wiseman will be good.
get shot.
I have no worry. I think he'll be a great player, and I'm mad that you guys could get another pick this year.
The Minnesota's looking a little bit too trash though.
Yeah.
We need them a little
I
bit
mean,
better.
dude, you have no like we have. I mean, we saw the Knicks. They had the easiest odds or whatever, the best odds, and they got what, like seventh. Like you have the lottery odds now that when they change them, like you have no idea anymore.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean that'd be crazy, but
It'd be so
I feel like
bad.
at that point, I'd honestly like if Wiseman picks it up, starts like showing what he is, Clay's back healthy, maybe
Yeah,
they
you
like
trade
make
that
some
pick.
determination. Like I would honestly maybe trade the pick if
Yeah,
we get one.
100%. You trade that pick.
Yeah.
What if it's like I don't know, number 4? Like, would you just draft it? I don't know. I'm trying to think who would be there at number 4, but
I don't know, like
maybe
Suggs.
Suggs, yeah, Jones, Suggs.
Yeah.
useful for the
I mean, no, this pick is like there's definitely like 5 like really good players.
Yeah, we talked about this. Like, yeah, we talked about this. I mean, like, this draft is insane, and I think the G League players are interesting because they're gonna have more maturity than we've seen of 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
So, Jalen Green is very interesting, I think, and I remember the other guy who's in the G League. There's another top guy in the G League.
I mean, at the same time, even if they keep the pick, like I wouldn't mind it. Like if these guys come out like NBA ready, if it's like a Jalen Green, if he's like NBA ready, like playing like if he can put up points, defend, like I don't mind. Like I kind of trust Steph and Draymond as like the veterans of the team to like put some good stuff into those young kids.
I mean, Draymond's averaging a triple single.
It's a triple single, but like I don't know. I feel like if you watch the game, like I don't know, like his impact is like huge for the Warriors.
That's true.
Like he's doing well, even though he's not like putting up stats. And it was like same thing right now with the Lakers. It's like he had like literally nothing. Like I was monitoring him, like I was just also watching the game, and like on my fantasy team, and then it's like kind of towards the like late fourth quarter when that was like kind of that run to close out the game. Like that's Draymond scored like more than half his points, which is not much. One of them was off a travel. One of them was off a travel, and then he had a couple assists to like Wanamaker driving down the lane a couple of times in that fourth quarter. Like I don't know, like he's just making winning plays. Like I don't really care about the fantasy part of it. Like he's playing well.
Did you see that like clip with him and Wiseman? He was like telling Wiseman he was out of position on defense and stuff. I don't know, that was a pretty cool clip.
He was pretty much telling that Gasol is ass and to go at him.
Yeah.
Did you see that clip?
Yeah, I saw it.
I actually didn't see that. I saw a Bleacher Report notification, but I didn't.
No, he was pretty much like, oh, like Gasol is guarding you. Like I like that. Like I like that for you. That's what he was telling him.
Mark's a good defender. Don't rip my man's.
I feel like Wiseman needs to be less finesse and just kind of be like just post up, like just like go with his body into the basket more. I don't know.
He's not a player like that. That was the thing about like his scouting report. Even if you like in college and high school, he was like one of those bigs who doesn't really like play that big. On defense, he plays really big, but at the same time, it's kind of annoying because that's why he keeps getting in foul trouble because he tries to swat like everything.
Sure.
So I mean, he'll figure that foul thing out. Like that's why he was frustrated against the Lakers. He had like 5 fouls. He only played 12 minutes. You know what I mean? Like he played like 12 minutes. He had 5 fouls, 5 turnovers. It was just a horrible game.
Same thing with DeAndre Ayton. Like I have this guy on my fantasy team, and he just like takes jumpers all game. And like he has like he's like 7'1", he has a crazy physique, and he doesn't like post up. Like Embiid kind of.
I said it in the draft video. I'm not a big Ayton guy. I'd take JJJ over Ayton. I'll stand
I
by.
like Aiden. I like Aiden. He's good.
Hopefully he picks it up with Chris Paul. But I mean,
Yeah, you
this-
guys both have him on your fantasy team. Yeah. I get it.
I mean, Chris Paul's a good thing for Aiden. Like I definitely believe that.
Do you think Chris Paul's a good thing for Booker?
I have Booker on my team too, and he's like, like
Jacob just traded Booker.
type guy.
Yeah, I just moved Booker. I mean, I definitely still really like Booker. He can go for 30 like any night, but he's more of a CJ McCollum-ish role, like where it's like they don't need him to get those assists. If you're talking like fantasy value, like he averaged like 7 assists last season. Like he's not doing that this year. He might still
CJ
score the
McCollum
26,
like,
27.
is insane. I think that's definitely a compliment this year. Yeah, I mean he's insane right now.
Who do you trade him?
Yeah, no, I mean Booker's insane too. I'm sure he'll figure it out. Like, I mean, like last game he just missed. He's a good player, obviously. Like, we don't really need to talk about Booker.
All right, let's see. What do you guys think? Are there any other like contenders that like or dark horses that could end up going to the finals? Or is it
I want to ask Leo what his take is on his Mavs, because I don't really like the Mavs anymore. I don't know because he was always talking about Mavs being a top 4, top 3 team. Like, there's just no way, in my opinion.
I don't know. I think you gotta give him a little time. Porzingis, and I mean obviously without Porzingis, they're not a top 5 team. So
Like, I rate the Mavs in like the same position as like the Warriors right now.
you gotta give him a little time. I think you gotta give him a little time. Right now, no, but I still think that they're really good.
I don't buy Denver either anymore because like they suck on defense.
We haven't seen Denver. I mean, we haven't really seen Denver. Like Michael Porter Jr. was a big loss for them. So
I mean, he's like a horrible defender too.
but he will get there. Like I mean,
You know, he's just a bad defender. Like I think like the Jeremy Grant, like who else did they lose? Jeremy Grant. They lost another guy off the bench who's big for them.
Troy Craig's is still on that team. Malik Beasley.
No, Beasley was like that was before the playoffs, but they had somebody else who was like definitely defending off the bench too. Because like now it's like they go to the bench and it's like JaMychal Green. Like this guy also doesn't really defend really.
I don't know. I think we gotta
I
see.
don't know. I feel like I don't really know if I have a new.
for them.
Pretty much
Yeah,
to answer your
sure.
question, Yanni, I don't really know if I have like a new dark horse. I just have like a kind of contenders kind of falling out of the picture.
What do you think of the Clippers? Like, I feel like if the Clippers are able to get to the Western Conference Finals and play the Lakers, that would be like the ultimate revenge, game like series for them. So I feel like they could, in theory, like win that series. Because like last,
Yeah, I mean they're definitely still good. They're definitely just as good as last year.
yeah.
Um.
Why they couldn't make the finals?
Yeah. I think the Clippers are underrated, just because the media, like whatever the hoopla, but also I think a dark horse in the East. I mean, before the Harden trade, I really liked Indiana, but
You
Hey, just
I think-
quickly about Indiana. Just quickly. I'll interrupt you. Sorry. I was watching TV and they're talking about like teams that are in like top 10 defenses and offenses, and it was Milwaukee, the Lakers, and the Pacers.
yeah,
Well, that's
I mean
like
they're so well coached and deep, and Sabonis is so good. I mean, he's the best. I mean, like he's one of the how like all these Shaq and Charles they all talk about how there's no centers that'll put their back to the basket and go at their guy. He does that. Like he takes care of mismatches all the time. He has great post moves, can dish the ball. Like I think he's a really good player. They're really well coached, and I don't know about the LeVert trade. LeVert in the long run definitely helps them, but now I don't know how long this kidney thing is gonna last. So that could take him out of the race. But if LeVert comes back healthy and puts the same numbers up as Oladipo, I could see them upsetting some teams in the playoffs.
I mean, Brogdon is a stud, and then Levert is like much bigger and longer than Oladipo, which I think kind of makes them a better starting lineup.
Yeah, and then TJ Warren, we got to see when he comes back because he's also a baller. So, I mean, yeah, they're
Pacers
so
are solid.
deep.
I mean, they're one of
I
those
mean, Miles
teams that goes
Turner's
like
having the best year of his career. He's averaging like 5 blocks. I mean,
Yeah.
he's leading defensive player of the year. I think that they're a dark horse in the East.
Yeah, I traded Booker. I traded Brogdon for Booker. So before TJ Warren got injured, and that did not work out for me so far. But
Yeah.
Booker picks it up.
I like we're talking about the Pacers. Like I literally just got them. Like the Warriors just played them recently, and they were kind of the Warriors actually beating them. I was kind of pissed they
Yeah, I
lost.
was watching that game.
But in the end, what happened? The Pacers just beat the Warriors. I wouldn't like. We didn't really like. It's not like the Warriors gave up and lost. Like the Pacers were just out executed. Just did everything perfectly. Like I don't know. They're definitely like a tough team you don't want to play.
They're kind of like the 2012 Spurs. Like they're real, fundamental, and then they got some really, Sabonis, Tim Duncan.
I feel like it's
I
like
mean,
still a
obviously,
regular season team. Like like in the playoffs, like I'm not like Brogdon, like Brogdon, like give me a bucket in the fourth, like bro. Like I don't feel about Brogdon like that, or like Sabonis. I don't feel about those guys like that. I feel like in the regular season, if I was to like just check the box scores at the end of the day, like I wouldn't be surprised. Not the box scores, like this the regular scores. Like I wouldn't be surprised to see the Pacers beat literally any team on a given regular season night. They can beat anyone, but playoffs, I don't really know.
I think it really depends on where they finish. If they play the Nets in the second, I don't know. That's tough. But they could beat the Sixers easily. I feel like
I don't think they could beat the
Sixers-
Sixers. They could beat like the Celtics, maybe something like that.
I think they could beat both of them. Honestly, I don't know. Sixers are so disappointing to me. But I think
But
also
still, like, they're not a contender, like because like you just said it, like they're playing Milwaukee or play Milwaukee or the Nets. Even Miami, like they swept them last year. Like I'll probably take Miami too. Like like
Miami.
I don't think they're a contender. They're just like a good team. They're just definitely like a good regular season team that like nobody wants to play.
Yeah, Miami's a weird start team, 5-7. I mean, they're resting their players like constantly.
It's not even rest. Like all those guys have like the COVID protocols. Like Jimmy Butler still hasn't even like played. It feels like
Yeah, I think-
Adebayo just got back.
Raptors
Hero's balling out.
black so
To
far.
be honest,
Who do you think is better, the Hawks or the Knicks?
the Hawks.
Hawks for sure.
You think for sure?
They don't have like Gallinari. They don't have some of their good players right now. So
Because
I think Trey's in a shooting slump too. So when he gets out of that, like changes everything.
What,
I
do you have
agree
a
with that.
favorite fantasy team?
So I really like the Knicks. Knicks are like honestly one of my favorite teams to watch. They're so well coached. They play great defense. Randall's an animal out of nowhere. Like just
Yeah, just for
as,
context, he has Julius Randle on his team, so he's watching the Knicks, and now he's hyping.
I always watch the Knicks. I always like the Knicks. I love their announcers. They're the best announcers in sports. Mike Breen and Walt Frazier. I mean, best announcers, best local announcers. If you have Mike Breen as your local announcer, I mean, that's just cheating. Like, so I always like watching the Knicks, and they're winning games. They beat the Bucks. They beat the Pacers. They beat like the top, and they beat the Celtics. Those are those are the top three teams. And I think
I'm gonna look at the standings quickly. I'm just to get a look at this East.
I think they're 7-6 or 6-6. But right now the Heat aren't in the playoffs, so like that's the problem. They're at 7-8. They're sixth in the East. The Cavs are making the playoffs. They're
I
7.
don't know. In my opinion, it's like the Hawks are better than them. The Magic are better than them. The Hornets are better than them. The Heat are better than them. The Raptors are gonna be like a top 5 team.
The bit I would say is like, I'm not happy unless I'm miserable.
Who?
The coach of the Knicks, he was like, I'm not
Oh,
happy
Thibodeau?
unless I'm miserable.
He's a great coach. I mean, like, yeah, it looks like the players want to run through a wall with him. But going back to the standings, yeah. So the Raptors and Heat are going to make the playoffs. So I think it's between. So the Cavs automatically. So it's then between the Knicks and the Hawks, in my opinion. I don't think the Hornets will make it. And I don't know. Hawks.
Dude, Magic are better than the Knicks.
Ooh.
Without Fultz.
They don't have Fournier playing right now. So
Yeah, without Fultz. I
The
mean,
Magic are definitely better.
I think with for a healthy roster, yeah. But I mean, like I don't know about in the long run.
I mean,
in the long run. I mean, at the end of the
I would
season.
take the Magic over the Knicks.
I don't know. The Knicks are a fun team to watch. If you hear Austin Rivers, bang, like that's just it's tight.
All right. with that being said, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Jacob and Leo, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
Video, like and subscribe, leave a comment, and see you guys in the next one.
Notification bell.